Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07. It's this Friday, the 7th day of November, 38th day of the government shutdown, instigated and continued by the Democrat Party in the Senate. Coming up in 30 minutes, Chuck Thies, D.C. political analyst, talk about how Sandwich Guy was acquitted. I keep saying the guy who threw a sandwich at a police officer and it was caught on video and he didn't deny doing it was acquitted by a D.C. jury. Also, Muriel Bowser now under investigation. We'll get to all that with Chuck Thies. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
It is a happy one, although we do have a freeze effect warning coming up this morning. The sub-freezing temperatures potentially overnight as well. It's getting colder and colder.
I saw frost this morning on the yard.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was cold. Joining us right now is Dr. Marc Siegel, a physician, Fox News senior medical analyst. Of course, his new book coming up, The Miracles Among Us. We talked a little bit about that book last time we spoke. Dr. Siegel, it sounds awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be on with you guys. You know, everyone needs a miracle these days,
Yeah.
and everybody needs to believe in hope. And doctors, too. Doctors can't be all about science. They have to be about caring for their patients and preserving the preciousness of each individual soul. That's key.
Well said, sir. And of course, listen, doctors, I think, do a great job, and they also rely on great medical advances, often from the pharmaceutical world. And one pharmaceutical that people are really celebrating is this weight loss drug, although there are some downsides, too. But yesterday, the Trump administration announced that there would be a huge effort to reduce the costs of these drugs. These are these GLP-1 drugs, right, that have been effective. But what exactly is the how is this going to work exactly? First of all, as usual, why is it so much more expensive here, like $1,300 a month in some cases, versus only a couple of hundred overseas?
Wow, you asked me a lot of questions at once.
I know, I'm sorry.
Let's start by saying that the body actually makes this stuff, and we're in trouble because there's a huge obesity epidemic going on because of our lifestyle, and we focus on that a lot. We're trying to reverse that. In the meantime, we have an artificial version of these drugs of what the body makes we can make, and the impact is decreasing hunger in the brain, making you feel full when you're not, improving use of insulin, overcoming inflammation. It looks like it works on every organ in the body. And you asked why it's so expensive. It's because the drug companies are hijacking us. One of them in of course, Copenhagen, Novo Nordisk, the other one, Lilly, where basically they'll get any price they can get. And one of the things Trump's doing here, and I got to absolutely applaud it, he's saying, hey, federal government's got a lot of negotiating power. We're going to use it. Other countries know that already, and that's why they're paying less. So Trump is saying, you want our market? Here's what we're going to pay. We're not going to pay more than that. And he can extend that to Medicare, to Medicaid, and then, of course, he's creating Trump RX where you can pay cash. But here's the untold thing. There's two headlines here that you don't know about. One, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services has got to get this drug approved for obesity under Medicare. It will. I believe it will. I'll be talking to Dr. Oz today. I believe that's going to happen. And then the second thing is really exciting, which is there's an old saying in medicine that the privates follow suit, meaning that what Medicare does, the private insurers use that as the gold standards, and then they follow suit. So in other words, the private insurers are not going to transfer it to the consumer if under Medicare you're getting it for a lot less. This is a very important thing all across the board. And yes, the drug companies can afford it. They're making a fortune on it.
Well, Dr. Siegel, that makes a lot of sense. And I think, when we looked at folks on Medicare and Medicaid, they probably have a lot of health issues that these drugs can address, which is really good. But from a conservative perspective, we see that there are a lot of people who are on some of these public programs that maybe wouldn't ordinarily qualify and have been expanded to over the years. And would something like, making these drugs available here, kind of incentivize more people to be put on these government programs to get access, or you think it won't have another negative impact on the private market?
That's a really, really important question. I don't like that idea of the nanny state, and I don't like the idea of front-loading care to compensate for all the chronic illness we've caused ourselves. I like that point, but I wouldn't target this particular drug when it comes to that, because this particular drug has so many positive effects, and it's so useful, provided the right person is prescribing it, because there are downsides. We don't know about all the impact on vision. We don't know about all the impact on thyroid and also on the GI tract. You know, it has impact on people with reflux, but I'm more on the other side of this, which is if people, we don't want to, so that only the rich can get this drug. I want to be able to prescribe it for everyone, but your point about Medicaid is well taken.
On these drugs themselves, because a lot of people look at it as some sort of miracle, and it's been, and I understand that, as you just said, our body produces this is an artificial version of it. Well, there are downsides and dangers of this drug too, and isn't there a concern also, here I go with my compound question again, that if
it's great.
People just rely on the drugs and not actually make a lifestyle change, that they'll either gain all the weight back when the drugs are off, and so they end up having to be on this for forever.
Real dilemma, and I have a lot of ways of handling that in the doctor's office. One of them is I try not to go for what the drug maker wants, which is to continually increase the dose, and after a while they'll only approve higher doses. That really takes the art of medicine away from me. And the other thing is that I want you to understand that even if this is a Band-Aid, it's a good one, because if I let you stay obese, you're risking diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer, so many high cholesterol, so many different medical issues, that I would rather use this injection, and it's soon to be a pill too, than treat the other downstream conditions. So first thing would be to exercise, eat right, change your diet. Second thing might be this medication, but you're right. I don't want this to be first line.
Dr. Siegel, when's your book officially out? It's coming up, right? Because I remember it sounds like a great Christmas present, Hanukkah present.
It's great in pre-orders. It's doing really well, and actually the pub date is November 18th, right before Thanksgiving. So you can pre-order it now on Amazon or wherever on Fox Books, and it's a book of stories. I told stories in this book that either I experienced in my practice or I heard about. Then I started interviewing everyone under the sun and said, did this really happen? Did this really happen? And I heard it from doctors, and I heard it from patients, and I heard it from witnesses. Yes, it really happened. And it isn't a bolt of lightning from the sky. It's more like an accumulation of coincidences that just can't quite be coincidences. That's the miracles in our lives.
The book is called The Miracles Among Us, How God's Grace Plays a Role in Healing. And I'm just one follow-up question on the book, because I can't wait to read it. Is there a direct connection, or do you have stories that connect prayers of those at the bedside or family members and other people soliciting prayers, and seeing how those prayers then sort of coincide with these miracles?
Yes, about half of the chapters directly connected to prayer. That happened with Dodie Osteen, Joel Osteen's mother. There was direct prayer, and liver cancer went away with her. That I tell a story from Lourdes, France. I tell a story with Robert Redfield, CDC director, was praying directly to God for his son, who had a severe head injury. And here's a tiny little funny story from there. He said one day his son was recovering against all odds and was coming back to himself after this huge coma where they thought he wasn't going to survive at all. He woke up, and they were Redfield was praying for his son. And one day he's sitting with him in the cafeteria, and he says, "What's wrong, Danny? It looks like your eyes are bothering you." Danny says, "I can't see out of one of my eyes." So Redfield goes back to God, and he said, "You promised us a full recovery." And I said to Redfield, "You criticize the Almighty over what he did, what kind of miracle he's performing?" And Redfield says, "What?" Redfield says, "Why not?" 2 weeks later, Danny could see fully out of both eyes. So the criticism worked.
Well, that usually doesn't end well, based on my understanding of certainly Old Testament concerns.
You got to be very careful. You got to be very careful with God. There's no question about it. But there's a lot of direct prayer in this book. A lot of direct prayer. Yes.
The book is called The Miracles Among Us. It's on pre-order now. And yes, a great book for the holidays that are approaching, especially Thanksgiving, because gratitude is a big part of this equation. Dr. Siegel, thanks for shedding light on
Thank you, Dr. Siegel.
On the fat shot,
Thanks
as Donald Trump calls it, the fat shot. It's 8:15.